Welcome back to CineMeghan Theaters. It is week 9. We have just completed watching Queen, which was directed by Vikas Bahl and came out in 2014 and was released in India. It is a Bollywood film, and it has been cited as a groundbreaking, influential feminist film within Bollywood cinema, going against traditional and conventional Bollywood, which we'll get into. Lately I've been pretty interested in the topic of Bollywood. I'm here with Vernon today, and we recent what?
I just said A.
A. We recently watched a Bollywood film earlier in the week called Kabai Kaushi Kabai Yam, which in English and on Netflix it says it's translated to Happiness and Tears, which was directed by Karan Johar, which came out in 2001, which we'll go a little bit into that. But yeah, I wanted to screen a Bollywood film for this week because I was reflecting on, I guess, my studies, even I was going to say like throughout college, but I guess like throughout my entire history with film being of interest with me. And I have studied Indian film before, but it was mostly Indian films from the 50s. That was kind of totally not Bollywood-esque at all. And basically for those for okay to kind of describe like a Bollywood film, it is one of the main film industries within India. It is mostly Hindi language films, and they're based in Mumbai, India. One of the most popular genres that like kind of a lot of people can associate with Bollywood films. It's called the masala films, which is a genre of the film industry, and it basically takes a lot of inspiration from other genres such as action, melodramas, comedy, and most important or like most noticeable musicals, and combines them all into one, which sometimes can have a film be really extravagant and also really long. Like again, the film Happiness and Tears that we watched was 3.5 hours. Highly recommended though. But
Great film.
it was so good. So good. And that would be, I would consider that film, I did research on it beforehand before we watched it earlier this week, but that film definitely, I think, depicts like the conventional like Bollywood film. Like that, you have your action, like I'm thinking the opening scene where it's like they're playing cricket and it's just like a video game. Like that's what I thought. Like as I was watching it, I'm like, this seems like some action video game, but they're playing a game of cricket and they're just like repeating shots, um, just to like build up that action and also that drama. And then there are musical numbers, and it's funny too. So yeah, but I thoroughly enjoyed Queen. I think I say that for every movie that I've like screened so far with this little project. And I can see why it is considered such like a groundbreaking film for the Bollywood film industry. Um, it for one thing, one article I was reading was saying that it doesn't necessarily it focuses on a female lead, and Bollywood, as many other film industries, I'm going to name Hollywood as an example, they traditionally don't center around like female leads. Like they're kind of just like the sub characters are kind of just like are there. But yeah, no, this whole movie follows Rani, this character Rani, which actually translates to Queen after her fiance calls off the wedding like the day before, which yeah, and she decides to go on her honeymoon and travel across Europe and kind of go see these cities that like she's always dreamed of seeing, obviously like with somebody she loves, but she ends up like almost yeah kind of like loving, yeah, this is gonna sound cheesy, but like she falls in love with herself and is accepting like to try new things and not necessarily like just please everybody else. But yeah, so I guess how how did you like this film, Vernon?
I really like the movie. I think like right now I'm reading the synopsis that you put in the Discord, and
Hmm.
I didn't see it. Like, I went into the movie blind, and just like reading the synopsis. If I would have read this before the movie, I thought it would have been like cheesy and kind of boring and kind
Hmm.
of like uh what's the word? What's the word? Predictable.
That's true.
But I don't know. There's something about this movie. It just,
Can you read the synopsis for our listeners in the future?
of course. 24-year-old Ronnie decides to go on her honeymoon alone when her fiance calls off the wedding. Traveling around Europe, she finds joy, makes friends, and gains newfound independence. Released in India in 2014.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Didn't do it justice at all. I recommend it. 10 out of 10,
yeah,
this
no,
movie.
yeah. Because I don't. It was just like things about the movie that just like weren't typical of a romantic comedy of this style. I think where like feel like it like even her. I feel like she would have found someone in like a typical romantic comedy like this. She would have found someone else to like fall in love with by the end of the movie, or there would have been like a serious romantic interest of some sort for her. But then there wasn't, and that like just made the movie 10 times better.
Yeah, and even like the fact that um like she had her first kiss in this movie um with
Yeah.
the Italian guy in Amsterdam. And yeah, I feel the same way. Like, part of me was like, is she gonna end up with, like, that's why I asked you. I was like, how old do you think this guy is? Because like he seems like a silver fox, and she's like our age. I mean, like, cool if you guys are, as long as you guys are consensual adults, by all means. But yeah, it just like it wouldn't have fit, and it wouldn't have. I think it wouldn't have made such an impact because I definitely it's a feel good movie, and I it ends her being single at the end is more positive, like it had more of a positive ending than as if she were like to get back with the ex-fiance or like find new love, because the whole point was to accept herself and take new chances with life, that probably was like other circumstances in her life beforehand were holding her back, and that was
Mhm.
other people around her, I think, because she even like she's not, I was saying earlier to Vern while we're watching the movie, like she's Ronnie is definitely an introvert, and I think she's always going to be an introvert, but by going on this honeymoon and being able to just like meet new people and like experiment with like even alcohol for the first time and having that first kiss, like she's accepting of new adventures, and not necessarily just doing them to please other people, which most of her life is depicted as she's a people pleaser, and that's kind of the way it's been. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, I
Another thing I liked about the movie. Oh, go ahead.
oh, but you go.
No, I was just gonna say that I just like her look throughout the movie. Like she doesn't like she didn't change the way like she dressed. She didn't become this whole new person or anything.
Mhm.
But a thing I like was how, like in the beginning of the movie, you see her. She's just like so lively and like colorful, I guess. And then after he breaks it off, for like the next 20 or 30 minutes, she almost looks like a different person. Where she just looks like down and just dark and like just like lifeless almost.
Yeah.
And then like throughout the movie, she seems to like I don't know, just like I don't know if like wardrobe or makeup or whatever. She like kind of just gains it all back. And then like once she's back in India,
Hmm.
she's just like even more colorful and like lively than she was in the beginning. And I don't know, I just thought that was cool.
Yeah, I love that she's wearing purple too, because that's like notorious for like being a royal color. I don't know if notorious was the right word right there, but it's a pretty, like royals would wear purple back in like ancient history because purple dye is pretty expensive, um, and her
Mhm.
name is like literally is queen,
Mhm.
and she's a queen. um, yeah, I was gonna mention the friendship aspect of this movie. Like again, like she's not like she doesn't find like romantic love, but definitely like platonic love, and
Mhm.
just because it's with conventional like Bollywood or yeah, from what I read with conventional Bollywood films and what I know of conventional Hollywood films is that female characters like I don't know, I want to say like 8 out of 10 times like they're always like pitted against each other. And in this case, VJ is like I was gonna say like just I wanted to say the word hero, but I don't know if that's the correct term. Just like a really a friend, like 100% committed to a friendship to support Ronnie during this tough
Hmm.
time. Because like they don't know each other before they like before she goes to
Yeah,
Paris.
no, they just meet on the balcony.
Yeah, and then they kind of confide in one another about like what they're doing, which like I know Ronnie at first is like, you shouldn't be like sleeping with with random men all the time, but they're there to like support each other and they have fun and they're not trying to like defeat or like compete with one another, which was really refreshing to see
Yeah.
in a movie like
To
that.
go with that, I really like the scene when Ronnie gets drunk for the first time,
Hmm.
and she's just going through 1,000 emotions, and they're just cutting from, like, different parts of the night,
Hmm.
and VJ just isn't saying a single word, she's just, like, listening, and she doesn't
Yeah.
look disinterested, but she just, like, looks like she's, like, intently listening and just there to support this woman she met, like, 2 days before.
Yeah, and I think that's also just a really powerful ability of friends is to know when and where like advice could be given or if you just need somebody to listen to or vent to. Because even I'm trying like even the fiance. Okay, so um, VJ is the best friend from Paris, but it's also the name of the ex fiance, and he doesn't like even ask her like how she felt when he called it off. Like when finally she's like, "No, we're done." He's just like, "Oh, but like I love you. I love you." Like he's never even asks why. Like I mean the answer is pretty obvious. Like he broke her heart, but just the fact that he's like he keeps bringing it back to himself is very selfish, considering it's a all relationships are two-way streets. Um, and he needs to learn that. And luckily, Ronnie did learn that and realize that she was not getting that from her ex fiance. Um, I want want to talk. I quickly wanted to brush over the topic of the music in the film. Like I mentioned before, with specifically the masala film genre in Bollywood cinema, musical numbers are like uh, very like are kind of expected. And this movie didn't have musical numbers, but the soundtrack felt like they were the musical numbers. They were done in a very particular way, and I'm curious if you felt that way too.
Yeah, I think if, like, to compare it to, like, a Hollywood film,
Mm-hmm.
like, the music in it 'cause, like, this isn't a musical,
No,
like, Happiness and Tears. That's the
Happiness and Tears. Yeah, that's
name
the
of the other movie
English
we watched.
title.
Yeah. Like, that one, they had, like, full
Are you wait? Are you talking?
the storytelling. Wait, can you hear me?
Oh, now I can hear you, but you just cut out.
Sorry. I was saying, like, this wasn't a musical, but the soundtrack and, like, the music in it was definitely a part of the storytelling,
Hmm.
more so than it is in, like, a traditional Hollywood film. Like, in Hollywood, I feel like the music is more for, like, uh, tone setting and kind of just, like, overall vibe of, like, a scene or whatever. In this
Yeah,
movie, it was kind of more so telling like, a lot of the songs were very direct to what was happening in the scene.
yeah, definitely in Hollywood films, it's like I don't know again why I'm thinking immediately of Twilight. Eventually, we'll screen it here, but like, let's say in Twilight New Moon, where Edward leaves Bella, like it's a sad song to represent that Bella is sad. But in this movie, when VJ leaves Ronnie, it's like a specific song. Like the lyrics are so specific to what Ronnie is feeling emotionally. Um, I really, I really like that. Yeah, because I can't imagine like if these songs would be used again in another Bollywood movie.
Yeah, it's almost it almost kind of feels like the film was written around the songs, or unless I don't know, 'cause like I know in Hollywood, like they'll pick a song to be for a movie because it's not necessarily trying to go perfectly with the scene or whatever's going on in the movie. It's just kind of like I said, the vibe or
Yeah, we need
the
a
emotion.
sad song right now. Let's go through like iTunes like, or Spotify.
Spotify and Apple TV. But like either the songs were specifically written for the movie or the movie was written around the songs. Or yeah, that's what it feels like in this film.
Right. Um, yeah, I'm trying to think. Yeah, I'm glad we watched this one. I know Netflix has a lot of Bollywood films. I'm realizing that as I'm doing my research. Um, for those listening in, this movie is available on Netflix if you subscribe to Netflix. Um, but yeah, do you have any other further comments?
Um, I feel like I did, but I can't remember it. There was something I wanted to talk about. Yeah, I can't remember it.
Well, if it comes up, let me know. um, but yeah, that's kind of all I wanted to touch about um, how Queen kind of goes against conventional Bollywood, how it could be considered, or how it is considered a feminist film. And also, I was writing down notes when the music was playing because I really enjoyed that aspect of the
Oh,
movie.
wait, keep going. I remember it, but keep going.
Oh, that was the end of my sentence.
Oh, I like how because my experience, I get like my experience with Indian culture
Mm-hmm.
and like arranged marriages comes from media, TV, and movies and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. I like how this film, other than all of them, even Happiness with Tears, I was saying, is that
Happiness
it?
and tears.
Happiness and Tears. Like this wasn't about like arranged marriages or like trying to go against her culture or anything like that. It was just a woman trying to figure things out for herself. And I don't know, I just kind of thought that was cool. Because like usually when anytime there's like an Indian character in a movie, and I get like this is
And like
Bollywood, so I guess
Hollywood, you're
yeah,
yeah.
it would be different. But
Oh,
like
100%.
that would be their story, their identity. Like it wouldn't be anything else.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And I get yeah, that just goes again like thinking back on like how we studied film throughout college or just like on our own, like it's definitely important to watch movies from outside the United States. um because
Yeah.
things can be lost. um but yeah, you're totally right that this had nothing to do with in like Indian culture. It's just an Indian woman trying to yeah go through heartbreak after her
But
fiance left her.
it wasn't like the movie was ignoring her culture, and it was like her culture was very still like prevalent in the
Hmm.
movie, but it wasn't her main identity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like she was who she was.
She was very much an
Yeah.
Indian, yeah, she's very much an Indian woman,
Hmm.
but it wasn't who she like what that's not who she was.
Yeah,
That's much it.
very good point. But yeah, I'm glad you remembered that because that was that's a good point. Um, all right. Well, This was definitely short and sweet, but I'm really glad that we were able to discuss this, and I am excited for next week's screening. I guess, would you like to say farewell, Vernon? All
I
right.
mean, goodbye. Sorry, that was my native language.
Have a wonderful week, and I will see you next Sunday. Bye.